What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Chris, man. We are here at the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. It is a brand new year, Wednesday, January 1st, 2025. My name is Chris Drummond. I am a freelance sports reporter based out of Minnesota here and proprietor of this podcast, Work Hard, Play Harder, where I bring individuals on to talk about their why and get to know them outside of their occupation. I got a special guest that's going to be coming on with me today. Her name is Josefina. She is involved with media. She's been a writer, a reporter. She's been an editor. She's been a director of communication. She's also went back to her alma mater to work, which is the University of Omaha, and worked in the communications department. So we're going to talk to her about her why of getting to know her in and outside of communication, but her why also for being in media and communication as well. So without any further ado, I introduce you the wonderful, talented, and the beautiful Josefina. Hello there, how we doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. It's finally good to see you. You look absolutely lovely today. Just wanted to say that. I also want. Oh, I'm sorry. I could barely hear you. Is it me or is it you? Let me see. Can you hear me good?
I can hear you fine. Yeah.
Okay, now I hear you a little bit better. Hear you a little bit better now. Okay, got you. Just wanted to say thank you for coming on to my podcast. I really do appreciate it. Work hard, play harder. How was your New Year's?
It was peaceful. I will say that. I'm
Okay.
I'm good with peaceful. I miss peaceful. So that's what I wanted to step into the year with peaceful. So yeah.
Well, I'm happy it was peaceful. Absolutely, I'm definitely glad it was. I
Yours?
would say mine was very peaceful as well, very quiet, which I like. And I'm excited for what's ahead in 2025 as well. I want to reiterate to you before I start peppering you with all these questions on why I wanted to have you on here. I know that you've been in a plethora of positions as far as communication goes, being a reporter, an editor, also director of communications at one point, and having your own, now being the CEO of your media company as well. So you obviously have experience in communications. And I'm a journalist myself. Been in journalism for the past now 7 years. I'm freelance now, but I've worked in Atlanta and Minnesota in different publications, writing all kinds of stories and doing all kinds of things. I love talking to people about their why because everybody's story is different. Everybody's story is worth hearing and worth telling. And your story is just as special as anyone else's. So it's really a pleasure to have you on here to talk about your story. And my first question, Josephine, is the same. Is that how you say your name, by the way?
Josefina. It's pronounced Josefina, Spanish, right? But
Got you. Got you.
people, yeah, Josefina's fine.
I just want to make sure. I never like calling people by the wrong name, so I just
Those
want to
who
make sure.
know me as Josie. So
Okay, well then I got you. Say less. Josie is what it's gonna be. So I feel that. Okay. My first question, as always, is the same with every guest I have on here, and that is, what is your why? What is your why of doing what you do? Did you have any role models or any inspirations growing up? What was your why of getting into the media journalism industry?
um I was lost. I'm gonna give you the real. I'm not gonna give you what everyone, or maybe that is their why, right? But I am a daughter of Mexican immigrant parents.
Okay.
I was always and have always been in survival mode my whole life. So my why was to get up and hustle and make things happen so I could live another and be thankful for another day. It
Right.
wasn't to, I didn't have aspirations to go, far and wide or to accomplish what I did. It was out of necessity. Um, and I say that because, some could say my why was there was no other. So therefore, I carved a path of my own and created my own, right? That's
Right.
my why.
Right.
When I was growing up, we didn't have many Latinos or African Americans or Asian people of color in predominantly, successful leadership roles that we saw.
Absolutely.
I, had, went to, predominantly Caucasian schools. And um, the further I went into my education and higher education, the more and more I saw I was isolated, and alienated, and alone, right?
Sure.
So my
Sure.
why was just a natural knack for getting to love and learn about people and their stories and their journeys, because I wanted to get to know the intricacies of people, right?
Right.
Regardless of your background, right? So I didn't
Hmm.
look at it like I had a role model that, I aspired to be. My role model that I aspired to be was Selena.
Okay.
And I'll
Okay.
tell you why, because that at the she at the time was what we saw when you were a young Latina growing up in um, late 80s, early 90s, right?
Right. Right.
And
Yeah.
so, me just being a curious human being and wanting to get to know people, I fell into asking a lot of questions. And that goes one of two ways, right? I'm a curious being, ask questions, then I'm asking too many questions, and then I don't know my place because I'm asking more questions and challenging
Right.
people. So I
Right.
was always met with friction. So that's what really propelled my curiosity is my why. It propelled me into my career.
It makes a lot of sense. I mean, yeah, all journalists, you got to have that nosiness to you a little bit. We all are curious. We all ask
Mhm.
questions. You say Selena, that's definitely something that I know about because that's kind of my time frame too. Growing up, being able to witness her, and it's funny that you say you didn't see a lot of African Americans or ethnic people, this ethnicity in hierarchy positions, because that was actually one of my driving forces of why I wanted to be in this industry as well.
Yeah,
Like I do sports, but at the same time, you really didn't see a lot of black faces in sports, whether it was women or men, and I wanted to kind of set a different standard and do something different with that. So
right.
I
As a
respect that.
journalist is what you're
Yeah,
speaking, right? As a
yeah,
journalist. The
absolutely.
the same. And, as I continue to ask those questions and was intrigued by people, right? And
Mhm.
every facet of their life, what was interesting is how are we to cover the news, but we don't even have the representation inside the newsroom to give the
Right,
cultural foundation of why certain things happen a certain way, or to shine a
right,
light on all the positivity happening in our communities. So, those were my why questions. I kept asking why. But you're
absolutely. No doubt, no doubt. The only way that you can inflict change is to kind of evoke it and ask about it, right? So I
right.
totally respect that. Now you went to the University of, if I'm not mistaken, Omaha as your undergrad. I want to know, were there any other schools that could have persuaded you from going to the University of Omaha, or was you just dead set on coming to Nebraska? Oh,
I'm
there
gonna
we go.
push us on hold for just a moment. Just a moment.
Okay, no worries.
I have a big Latino. Thank you. I have a big Latino family, and so at any given time they will drop by.
Hey, that's all right. I love it. I
And
love it.
so
That's a
then,
beautiful
and
thing.
so then my little puppies will start barking, and they'll be like, just be craziness. So I said, go circle a block, then come
I
back.
feel that. I feel that.
And
I like
so,
that. Okay.
so repeat your question.
No, I was talking about you going to the University of Omaha, and were there any other schools that could have persuaded you from going there, or were you dead set on going to Nebraska?
Going back to I was a daughter of immigrant parents, right? My parents do not have their GEDs. They do not have beyond. My mom probably dropped out as a teen mom sophomore year of high school.
Okay.
My father probably had maybe close to a eighth grade education,
Mhm.
before, he worked his ranch in Jalisco, and moved to the States or came to the States when he was 14 years old, right? So
Wow. Okay.
education was never at the forefront of what we were going to do. When I was already 9 years old, I was handing out newspapers and contributing to the family, right? I was in high school already working two, three jobs, hustling on the weekends as a CNA, hustling, I got my certifications. I was always continue education. You all pour into the family to make sure that
Right.
the family is surviving, right? It's a
Absolutely.
very collectivistic, ethnicity, right? So when it came to higher education, I thought, well, yeah, it would be nice to pursue higher education, but there was no way that I could afford that.
Mm.
It'd have to be scholarship bound, and I didn't really know. I didn't know how to fill out a FAFSA. I didn't know how to
Right.
fill out a college application. I would ask questions of counselors that just did not perceive me as the student that they thought would be on track, right? We overlook so many young people because of assumptions. And I am so thankful to this day of, a high school friend's mother who said, no, we're going to sit down and do this together, and we're going to fill
Mm.
out these applications.
That's
And
pretty
I
sweet.
did look at Lincoln, I did look at Omaha,
Hmm.
but I was so, I would have loved to gone to Columbia. I would have loved, my dream school was Berkeley, right? That would be
Okay.
my
UC
dream.
Berkeley. Okay.
Yeah. But for me, I didn't even know where to begin, and it felt so overwhelming. So I was thankful that I did get a full ride. And through the University of Nebraska at Omaha, the Goodrich Scholarship Program, and
Mm.
it provided all 4 years, right? So I didn't have to worry about that, and then books and et cetera. But I I knew what I wanted to be the moment I set foot there. I knew I
Right.
wanted to be a journalist. I knew I wanted to be a writer. My high school years, I was already working on the student newspaper, was the yearbook editor, was always contributing. Even back then, there was no limitation, even now, for the public pulse, any of the editorial pages. If you're a high school student and you feel very have an opinion about something, write it in,
Right.
write a letter to the editor. I was that
Right.
girl. Like, it did not stop me. And so the concept of higher education and being educated through, academia and being book smart, like it was two and the same to me. Like
Right.
they were both the same to me. I could still be very opinionated. I just never knew I could make a true living as a journalist until education opened its doors to me through by way of a scholarship. And then, you know, I I loved it. Like University of Nebraska at Lincoln and University of Nebraska at Omaha, they're all a part of the NU system, right?
Yep.
And so we had access to just a plethora of resources, and the Omaha World Herald is the largest daily in the state and was then just a powerhouse. It was then an employee-owned newspaper.
Hmm.
I was fortunate because I was so driven in writing and I had a knack for editing that I had good people always looking out for me, you know? So going
That's
back
a
to,
good thing. Absolutely.
oh, totally. Going back to like race, and even though I did not see role models that I
Hmm.
looked up to, it was really by virtue of my peer group and, great people that I had networked from my knack of curiosity and just getting to know people that looked out for me. So your network really can shape your existence. You are a product of your environment and who you expose yourself to, right?
No question. No
Networking
question.
are those opportunities. And so I learned early on to get to know people and get to know how I can help them, not just take from them, but what can I do to assist you? And so I had my high school journalism teacher that had connected me with the then managing editor of the Omaha World Herald, who brought me in and took me under her wing. 17 years old, I was already at working at the World Herald, you know? So I've lived my life in news. My whole life has always been built around communications because I knew early on, since I was, I don't know, first grade, when
Mm, okay.
my teacher said I was a chatterbox, and I wanted to prove to her that I could make a living being a chatterbox, right? So
Sure.
I just,
Absolutely.
I'm a driven person that way. Tell me, if you say I can't, I'm gonna show you I did, and then some. That's the kind of person I am.
Absolutely, no question. I mean, only doubters fuel. They fuel the fire. There's no question about that. Anytime you have somebody that doubts you, that definitely adds a little bit of fuel to the fire. I love the fact that you said that you went to the University of Omaha. You went back there too. After you graduated there, if I'm not mistaken, you went back there to oversee their communications department. How was that experience when you went back there?
So, yes, it was their independent student newspaper, The Gateway, that I really got my foot in the door my freshman year of college and started working as a freelance writer, contributing writer.
Hmm.
And my entire career, I call it a college career because that's what it becomes, right? I have
Right.
always contributed to the newspaper for the World Herald as well as the student newspaper. So when I had the opportunity after I spent nearly what, 15 years working at the World Herald, doing just
Mm.
about, I don't know how many different positions, but always in features and writing and nightlife and column. I had my own column. But I went back because I knew it was a time that we were switching digitally,
Sure.
more progressive when it became, having our, digital footprint, understanding the landscape, and I wanted to help usher in the next generation.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So the best way to do it was to get in front of those young journalism students, and that's where I helped as the uh, publication manager of the Gateway. So yes.
Yeah, the itch, Josie, has definitely been in me too. I'm a substitute teacher, as well as a journalist. So I'm getting my master's in professional writing, and I started kind of late because now I'm in my 30s now. So I'm a late 80s baby, growing up. So, um, but I got the itch to be able to pay it forward now. A lot of these young high school kids ask me so many questions about journalism and how you write this, how you write that, how you cover this, what do you look for, and just different things like that. And I always try to pass on wisdom like that. So the teaching bug has gotten into me a little bit as well. Have you ever thought about possibly doing that?
So I feel I do that with everything anyhow.
Okay. Okay.
And the way I do it is because not to knock our educational institutions right now, but
Sure. Sure.
I will say that there is what you were trained to do
Hmm.
classically,
Yeah.
and what the real world looks like. And you'll get a lot of hard knocks unless you really have a mentor or somebody who's going to guide you for what that looks like in whatever your scholarship or field is. So for us in
Mhm.
communication, there's
Right.
the going and getting your 4 year higher, your 4 year degree, your bachelor's, or
Yeah.
perhaps your master's if you continue a couple more years and studying communication or whatever field, right? Then there's the
Right.
reality of I've studied it, now I have to apply it. And when you apply it, it looks vastly different. You
Yep.
can study from a book all you want, and you can read journals all you want, but it's vastly different when you're knocking on the door of a mother whose son was just shot down and you have
Right.
to ask her tough questions.
Oh
Or
yeah.
on the flip side, if you have to cover a live event like a basketball game and you have to
Hmm.
know how to do it with um, understanding the game highlights, not
Hmm.
missing anything, getting the right quotes, you
Right.
know,
Right.
understanding how to,
Ask the right
dissect.
questions.
Yes, ask the right questions, really dissect what you got in that moment, in that nugget, and then to take all that information on a deadline
Oh
and
yeah.
write that piece, right?
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's applying it, and what I've noticed is the books stay the same. The methodology in higher education stays the same, yet the
Right.
way we're communicating is vastly different and hasn't kept
Without
up with
question.
what we're doing. And so, yeah, I left the University of Nebraska at Omaha um, in September of 2023,
Yeah.
and I really missed um, the coaching, is what I like to call it. Like, I
Sure.
don't, everyone in this world teaches someone something, but when you have to coach, it's a little bit more involved. I feel I
Mhm.
could teach and talk at you, but if I'm coaching, I'm making sure that you understand, you make the mark, you hit the line, you understand the
Sure.
strategy behind it, right?
Absolutely.
So when I'm coaching, I got another opportunity by way of creating internships and pathways through my company to make sure I'm still bringing in those young minds that are malleable that I can mold and teach them how we do it now. Writing a story, I still want to see three sources. What do you mean you're afraid to call them? What do you mean you don't want to knock, on their door? The first assignment I'm going to assign you is we're going to write about gas prices. Go to several different gas stations in your city and talk to random people and ask them what they think about the gas price, right? That's something that we can always cover, right? But if
Absolutely.
you're afraid to walk up to a stranger, how are you really going to get to know yourself? Not
No
that
doubt.
person, but yourself.
No
how
doubt. I'm
you
with you.
how you interact with people, how you read people. So I'm always teaching, but to give the guidance that I want and coaching them, it's not necessarily done in higher education the way I'd like to see it. So I've already started my own modules and curriculum, and I teach and coach with the know-how capability of how we operate and function in a digital world now, what that looks like. Yeah.
Okay. I like that. I respect that. Josie, I want to ask you some favorite questions. Okay. You just give me the 411 off the rip based upon these favorite questions I'm about to ask you. Are you ready?
Go for it.
All right, here we go. Favorite meal you like to cook?
Oh, oh, there's my favorite meal that I like to cook, and there's the favorite meal that everybody likes to eat. So,
Okay, you can give me both of them if you want.
all right. So I make amazing homemade enchiladas, like hands down. They are
Hmm.
ground beef, so juicy, so
Okay.
cheesy, so saucy. So I love it. But the favorite that they like to eat would be like pozole, or tamales. So I love traditional food. So yeah, made everything made from scratch.
Yeah, you definitely have named my favorite brand of food, which is Mexican food. There's no question
Okay.
about that.
Okay.
I'm huge into Mexican food, huge into Italian food. Those are my two
Mhm.
favorites. I'm a huge taco person, so anytime I can whip up some tacos, I'm pretty good. So next time in Omaha, I might have to say what's up to you. I might have to see what's good. No question. Um, I like that. I like that first answer. Favorite concert you've ever attended?
Ooh, I've attended a lot. Now remember, I used to cover nightlife. Oh man, that's a tough one.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man, that's tough. I mean, I've been backstage with Lil Wayne
Ooh, okay.
and Mary J.
Okay.
Okay. Well, like, because I covered nightlife, so I got access with concert promoters. But, love me Al Green, because he was still doing it way into his, like years.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, but I think like and Brooks and Dunn was amazing. I mean, you can't like hold like my iPod, like iPod, right? My iPod. No, my
Taking it
playlist.
back, Josie, with that one.
Yeah, look at you with the iPod. I'm telling you, ever since Apple been coming out with any kind of music, it was everywhere, whether it was 1,000 songs or a million now.
Right.
My playlists are insane. But I'd
Ah,
have to probably, oh man, this sucks. I'm gonna have to go with a classic of
okay.
Tom Petty.
Patti LaBelle. Okay.
No, Tom Petty.
Oh, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Tom
Yeah.
Petty. I'm gonna have
Mm,
to go with Tom Petty. No, I've been through everything from Lady Gaga to Janet
mm,
Jackson, but she was
right.
not showing out on that concert day, so that's why I was really sad. I was like, that's a waste of my money. when you go to a show and you want to see a performance, but you also have to give a little leeway. I mean,
Review.
Al Green was
Yeah.
doing it. Janet was just sitting on a stool. I wasn't having
Well,
it.
you know Al Green, he cold. He cold anywhere he go. He gonna be real good. He gonna be great. His classics. I mean, every song pretty much Al Green sing, even if you don't know it, it's still gonna be good. It's gonna be good for him.
Yeah,
That's one of my favorite singers of all time. And I'm all over the place too with music. Like I go from Al Green to Phil Collins to Rod Stewart
yeah,
to Tom Petty to all the way to um uh, Florida Georgia line. Like
yeah.
I'm all over the place, but I also love my Mary J. Blige, Janet, Mariah Carey, Monica, Brandy, Alicia Keys. I also love that too. So,
Yeah, Mariah's my
um,
idol. I've not seen her in concert yet.
oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that. She is definitely one. She put that on the bucket list. There,
That
put
is
that
my
on the
bucket
bucket list.
list.
No doubt, no
Yeah.
doubt. I would say
But
Alicia Keys for me because I'm a huge R&B person, so I love R&B music.
yeah,
So seeing her live was pretty good. That was pretty cool. Um, Favorite place you've ever traveled to?
I was just in Italy this past summer.
Okay,
Um, Dynamic. Um, Paris was too stinky for me.
you got no. Oh hell no, we can't let that slide. You got to explain. Paris was
Yeah,
too
and no, like
stinky.
literally it's just like old city like rot. It's like city rot. Like you walk down,
Yeah.
everything kind of
Wow.
stinks. Um,
Okay.
let me see here. Favorite place I've traveled to. Oh man. I love a beach, right?
Okay.
I
Me
love
too.
I love beaches. Um,
Putting you on the spot a little bit, huh?
I know, I
Okay.
know.
Okay.
Man, I think I would
Well, give me a couple places. Give me a couple. So you can't pin it down to one. Give me a couple places that you think that was very nice, that's memorable to you, that comes to your mind.
but they all do. Like when I was younger, Edinburgh, Scotland, I
Okay.
loved because it was so green and the rich history.
I
London,
love
I
it.
loved because again, the history. Italy was phenomenal because of the people and then just to walk and just like enjoy people.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm such a beach girl. I feel still I'm going to be pulled to Key West because the vibe is just always on
I'm
point.
with you on that one now. Now, yeah, Key West definitely Destin too. I don't know if you've been to Destin, Florida, but Destin
Mhm.
has some of the prettiest white sand that you'll ever see in your life, and very good, nice beach vibes. I'm a huge beach person. I would definitely say mine. It's hard for me to pin down one. I was gonna say one, but I'm gonna have to say two. Cabo San Lucas was one of my favorite places. I just love Mexico. Period. Anytime I get a chance to go back there, it's all love because I love that country. I really do. So that was one of my favorites. And also Jamaica. And I
Jamaica
recently
was so pretty.
recently went to Jamaica on a cruise.
Mm.
So yeah, that was pretty cool. Just seeing they have some of the best jerk chicken I ever tried in my life. So I was hooked on that. So it was pretty cool. And I plan on going to Greece this next June. So definitely that might be a new one. So we'll see. We'll see about that
Oh,
for
good for
sure.
you.
Now, Josie, I am a sports person, so I'm gonna ask you a sports question.
Okay.
Favorite sport you like to watch on TV? Favorite sport you like to see in person? They could be the same sport.
I love football, hands down.
Okay.
Uh, but not for the reasons, I mean, athleticism, yes, but it's always the locker room drama that pulls me in. It's the
Okay.
drama.
Wow. Okay. That's
Drama.
definitely a first, that's for sure.
It's the drama. I love good drama, and they are always in it. But I love football. Just because down to the combine, I love athleticism, so I love seeing how these young men are. You know, really, it's grit and grind. It's what it is, and I love seeing
Yeah.
how they go after it. I think that that is some of the coolest things. It's like, me mentally, I've never been a very coordinated person, so I don't like, I've never played a sport. Can't catch me at playing a sport. I'm just the clumsiest person in the world, but it doesn't mean that I don't have the appreciation for all those that do. So hands down, like I love baseball too. I
Okay.
just think that that's a great pastime that is going to be passed up by probably the WNBA. I believe that is coming, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's dope.
Nope.
I think it's
Not
dope.
at all. Not
I
at
think
all.
it's dope that we're seeing that. I have a deep appreciation for anyone who does any kind of sport. Even, man, just coordination. Even if it's bowling, it's a sport, even if
Mhm.
whatever, curling, it's a sport. Like it takes coordination, and I just don't have it. But I really love football, and I really like baseball. So,
Okay, I love that. I'm a huge lover of all sports, but I do love basketball in person.
mhm.
I love that to the core. And I love football on TV. Although when I do cover football and I'm on the field, that's a beautiful experience to see
Yeah,
them on the field doing what they do, for sure. So yes, absolutely, I'm with you on that. Now, I've only been to Omaha once, and that was because my alma mater, which is Kennesaw State University, was in the World College, the College World Series, which they have over there in Omaha
yes.
every single year. Um, and that was quite the experience being there. It was my first time, but certainly will not be my last. But I need to know, Josie, what is some good food places out there? Because I'm a huge foodie, and I would love to come back there and obviously eat at some good restaurants.
There are so many. I don't think people think of Omaha as a foodie place, but it really is.
Mm,
Especially, per capita, we have like so many restaurants and so many, um, amazing restaurant. But I would say Block 16, hands down, is a phenomenal place.
okay.
A classmate of mine opened that. Phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal. The flavors are dynamic. Yoshimoto, so you're talking about sushi, another award-winning location, steakhouse. I like the
Yeah.
Drover.
Now you talking. Oh yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
so it really depends. I'm more into like hidden mom and pop places
I feel you.
that you don't like would normally think to go to. Um,
Mhm.
but those end up being probably some of the for me it's environment. Like you take the concerts. We were talking about concerts, right? But you didn't
Yep.
ask why Tom Petty, right?
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
I was there by myself among strangers and I was not treated like a stranger. You know what I'm saying? We
Sure.
all came together. So it like I really think that environment again pulls me in because of the people. So yeah, good conversations. So foodie places, there's so many. There's a plethora of them.
I love that. Obviously, next time I'm there, I'm definitely gonna say what's up to you, but I'm definitely gonna have to go see that steakhouse. That's for sure. You won my heart with that one, so I'm definitely going to check that one out for sure. No
Yeah.
doubt. Um, I want to know about your day to day, right?
Okay.
As a journalist, as a person in communications, I know my day to day when I was in the publications, full time like that, it always changed. It was never the same.
Yeah.
Hours differentiated because I was in sports, so we had different kind of sports stuff. We had signing day, which is early in the morning. We had late night games, which football carries on, basketball, different feature stories, editorials, previews, all different kinds of stuff. Right? Our day is just never the same. The time frame is not like a business hour type of thing. It's not 8 to 4, 9 to 5, and you punch out and I'm done for the day. No, that's not journalism. That's not communications. Talk to me now with you being kind of in a CEO type of position now. What is your day to day process? What do you do? How do you prepare for that?
Um, I never know my schedule,
Hmm.
and I like it that way.
See, yep,
Um, I have a phenomenal, she's the executive client relations. She don't want to be called no admin because that's what she's not. Miss Amy puts me on game every day with more my
yeah, she's
schedule.
pretty good. She's pretty
She's pretty
good. I've
good.
spoken to her a couple times, so she's
Yeah.
good.
So, when I was a young journalist, it was always kind of scary going in to the office, to the newsroom, and
Mhm.
not knowing what you were going to do. Because, when I was hired like my sophomore year of college already working night cops, right? Whatever was breaking news, if it was a fire, if it was a shooting, if it was like a train, or if it was like a crash or whatever it was, I was out there running to, right? And
Right,
it, became such a news junkie and an adrenaline junkie from that. And that's what really shaped adaptability in my life. And so now, when I prepare for the day, it kind of starts what I think is the same, but it's never the same because I have different clients that she puts on the list. I have people waitlisted that, if something cancels, they're able to pop in. And I like to know my people, so I like to spend time with my clients to really get to know
sure,
what their needs are. So I still love being able to come in, and every day I'm focusing on a different subject and trying to become a master at whatever that is with that strategy. So, if I'm working with the restaurant and I'm doing, a social media campaign strategy for, like, we're preparing already for Valentine's Day, right? So, all of what that would unroll and unveil, and like understanding the market and doing market research, it's no different from being a journalist and understanding the trends and figuring out how to write the story.
right,
Love that. Or if I'm coming in and I'm working with another client and they're a nonprofit organization and they're getting ready for their, holiday campaigns for, donation season and giving season, how to attract people so that way they would give their end of the year giving to so many amazing, wonderful organizations that we work with. But that's always, I think, how I looked at it. And I don't know if I could ever just wake up and do the same thing and expect that my outcomes in life or my demeanor would be satisfied with knowing it was the same every day. Like, some people enjoy that stability and that's cool, right?
right.
But that's not me. I can't hit the
Either.
same pavement every day and
Hmm.
expect that it's going to be enough for me because I am such a curious person. I have to switch things up. Maybe it's my ADHD, but I love it, and that's why I love being
No,
a
no,
journalist.
absolutely, absolutely not, Josie. That is the life of a journalist and people in communications. I think all of us that get into this field, we know that the redundancy of a job that would just bore us half to freaking death. I mean, it just would. I mean, I cannot see myself sitting at a desk 8 to 5 answering phone calls, doing the same
Oh,
thing over. I love the fact of waking up and there might be a different story, a different game to cover, a different story to write. I love that because it just brings excitement. You never know who you're going to meet that impacts your life as a journalist. You never know what clients you're going to get or what type of plan that you're going to have for that particular client because all your clients are different, right? So, but it brings a question, a great segue to this next question, and that is mental health and work life balance.
yeah.
We just talked about it, right? Where we talked about different hours, different things every single day. Some people get affected by their mental health because, they're just they thought the job was going to be one thing and they realized it was another thing, or they feel like they just need a mental health day in their station or publication, or their job is just not allowing them to have it. And then also people have work life balance struggles, right? They don't see their families enough. Typically in these industries of communication, you have to move away from the place that you are to
Mhm.
get your start to be able to build and grow, right? Sometimes you don't get to stay in the same spot. You miss holidays with your family because you're working all the time because the news never stops. Talk to me about how you keep your mental health strong and also have that work life balance because you seem like a wonderful woman to be around. There's no question about that. But you also
Yeah.
seem like you're very busy as well. So how do you balance that?
I was first of all, I'm gonna say to anybody, I'm gonna be such a big advocate of it, an advocate of it, and I'm gonna share a little journey. But know your worth, know your worth,
Yeah,
and know your worth. And when someone asks you for your time, time is money. And if you want my money, I'm gonna tax you, and then I'm gonna double it, because you better not waste my time. So I know my worth. um, when you're younger and I feel like you're starting out in the industry and you want big breaks, there was, I'm fortunate, not everyone can do or take the path that I took, right? I had the right
Right.
people around me who, first time negotiations of salaries. I said, oh, okay, I'll take what, that's cool. And they're like, no, this is the point where you negotiate. Oh, okay. Like what? Like ask for more money?
Right.
You know,
Right.
so I've always had guidance. And one thing is if you could not pay me my worth, then you had to give it back in time. And I learned that really young. So when I, had started working full time at the newspaper, I was looking at, a job offer with the Associated Press, a job offer with Colorado Springs Gazette. Even though I had been here in Omaha and I studied in Omaha, I learned that internships start when you start them. Like you don't have to wait your senior year to start an internship. So I interned all over the country
Right.
and
Right.
that knowledge base made me an attractive candidate. So you have to know the voids first to make you an attractive candidate to then have leverage to negotiate. And
Makes sense.
then
Yeah.
why is it important to negotiate not just your salary, but that personal time? You have to give it back to you. And I
Right.
know in the industry, when you start it and you look at being a salaried employee, they would say, well, you leave when the job's done, when the story's done, right? Well,
Absolutely.
um, there's been many times that I've had, tiffs, but I made it so that I didn't ever go into the office before 10 o'clock, and I still don't go into the office before 10 o'clock. Why? Because I love my sleep. I'm a Cancer. I love my bed. I'm not
Bet
getting
you
up
do.
for nobody unless I'm choosing to get up. When I started my business, it's a little different
Mhm.
story. I get up now, but I want to dictate where my time goes.
I
And
got
if
you.
you're not able to give me a raise and compensate me annually in a promotion, then you give me my days. Then you can do that in time off. So that
Sure.
way I can take time off. So early on, I was probably 3 years in when I decided every Friday in the month of December I was going to have off. And then it became every Friday and Monday. And then it became like, I'm not coming in December. I'm using all my time. Like I learned how to negotiate to make it crafty to pour back into me. Because if
Okay.
you will continue to go in this industry hard because you think you want the results and the results are going to give you leverage so that way you climb a corporate ladder, you're wrong. You need to pour back into yourself. You need to have sanity. And when you're not allowing yourself breaks and you're not allowing yourself that period of respite, you're wearing yourself out to the point where you become irritable. You don't like to wake up. You don't like to go into the office. You don't like to do what once brought you joy. And that's not what we want. We want to make sure that we're always looking for ways to pour back into ourselves. So I always challenge people to know their worth and then to be crafty with how they're able to pour back into them. So maybe you want to start at 10 o'clock, or maybe you want at 5 o'clock and you're out the door, right? And we know that
Right.
5 o'clock hour, okay, five. I've learned now that I'm older, now that I have my own business, now that I go hard, some days I'm working 18 hours because I've got
Sure.
so much to do. And other
Right.
days I'm working 4 or 6. But I've learned how if you want my time, you better put it on my calendar or you're not going to see me because my time is money. And
I feel it.
if 5 o'clock hits and you want to meet me after hours, well, now because I have my own business, I could say, okay, then I'm going to charge you after hours times because I want my time back. It became more valuable to me after
Right.
5, right? Five after 5. I only get 24 hours, Chris. We
Of
only ever get 20. I asked God for more and he said you only get 24. So what am I supposed to do with that?
course. That's
You only
it.
get 24. So
Hey,
if 8 are
listen.
supposed to be sleeping
Right.
and 8 are supposed to be working, then the 8 that I'm supposed to be given are mine. But if my 8 hours are more than 8 working and less
Sure.
sleeping, or wherever, now I'm piecing myself apart. I'm breaking my body down. I'm breaking my mind down. I want
Mhm.
my time back. So then my time that gets increased. When I first started the industry, it was $50 an hour on my own when I first started my business. Now I'm at 275 an hour. My time is important. You can either work with me at my rates, or you can work at the junior client who's still learning the ropes at a lesser rate. But if you want my time, it's important. I only get 24. I'll
I
negotiate
love it.
those hours. So,
I love it.
so yeah,
I do.
that's my little story and spiel about burnout and mental health and understanding. And it was just this year in 2024 that I had came to that conclusion that I'm all out of free. I'm all out of
Wow.
free.
Wow. I
Yeah,
love, no, listen, hey, I love that. And I'm sorry not to cut you off, but I love
yeah,
that.
you're
I
fine.
do. I love that saying because the fact is you're right. Time is money. Time is precious. A lot of people when they start in this industry, Josie, they're the yes person. Like they want to do everything. Yes, yes, yes. I'll do this. I'll do that. Because you're trying to prove yourself. You're in improving mode, right? But as you get older, you do realize that know your worth really matters. Now, I
Mhm.
came into this as an older gentleman into this. So I kind of knew that, yeah, I'm gonna say yes, but at the same time, you got to know your worth. And that's part of the reason why I went freelance is because I worked in the different publications, and when I got here to Minnesota, I felt like my worth wasn't being valued. And listen, everybody has different situations. My thing was to be professional. I had a meeting, and I was told that I was below average, and then I was told that I wasn't very good, and that was after 18 months of producing all kind of content. And then after that, I was told, well, we don't have the resources here to help you become better because I didn't take offense to the below average comment. I took offense to the comment of we don't have the resources to help you. Well, what kind of leader does that make you if you saying those kind of things?
Right,
It makes you a pretty poor leader. So at this point, there's no need to keep coinciding with you. You do your thing, I'm gonna do mine. And since then, it's been absolutely lovely. Again, you have to find your peace, and then you also have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Like those are not comfortable situations when you're going into call a meeting saying, you know what, and you're talking about negotiating, and you're like, okay, I feel like I've outworked what you're paying me. Is there any way that we could be able to come to understanding and compromise of maybe having a raise? Right now, I don't want you bringing out the Brinks truck, and I'm sure you wasn't asking for the Brinks truck either. But at the same
I
time,
probably was.
you probably was.
I ain't gonna lie, I probably was.
I like that. I like that though. Listen, you
Yeah.
know your worth though. That's the main
Mhm.
thing. Young people should know that. Don't wait till you have to get older to realize that. You should know your worth from the start. You
That's
know
right.
your work ethic. You know what content you can produce, or you know what asset you can be to these companies. And I think that's a very good thing to bring out. But with that advice, what other advice would you give to someone that wants to be in this media journalism industry, maybe a postgraduate or intern or somebody that might be a little seasoned in age?
Mhm.
What kind of advice would you give them?
So now I can't go out here saying I know my worth and I think my time's worth $1 million.
I
It's
mean,
so good.
yeah, Josie, you be
So
out your damn mind saying
I,
that. That's
I,
crazy.
I have to be so, I have to prove my worth too. And
Absolutely.
I think that that goes in hands. Like if, if I'm doing my due diligence, I'm putting in the extra work because it's no different than any athlete that after that clock has hit and practice is over, he's still running drills. Why? He's still lifting weights. Why? He's
Right.
after hours, still running miles, or she may be still doing layups. Why? So,
Right.
so you have to look at it in the same manner that if you want to be the greatest that you possibly can be, it's you against you always. And that's how you have
Yep.
to look at it. Me against me. And when I get to the point where I feel that I should be, I
Hmm.
can be, I am. When I am is now in existence, then your worth carries weight. But have you done the work? Have you put in the work first? And if you didn't put in the work, then don't come at me saying that I think I wrote a first draft and it's great. And I'm looking at it like, bro, you GPT this, you better go on with something else.
So
Because I will,
she brought out Chat
I'm a
GPT.
stud. I'm a stud in these streets. I can read through that.
Wow,
Like
wow,
I will send it back and I will fire you because you think you're smarter than I. I just want people to understand that real talent shines through because they put in the work.
absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. I didn't think we were gonna get an AI reference out of you, but that's what's up. I love it. I
No,
love it.
AI is cool. I love AI. I've been using AI for I wasn't even a part of the beta group when it came to OpenAI. I've been using AI for a long time.
I
But
feel
I've been
that.
using it at different capacities for a long time for logistics. And
Yep.
I love new technology. I mean, like when I started as a journalist, I was like at the forefront of Twitter and at the forefront and I never chased a blue dot or a blue anything. Like I didn't need it. Like my
You
followers
remember
were my
MySpace?
followers. Huh?
You remember MySpace?
Yes, I was on MySpace.
Yep, I was too. I was too.
I was on all of them. I was on all the .coms that made sense to be on as a journalist. And
Mhm.
I was also questioned, why would I reach out on Twitter and ask, if I was doing a fashion piece on whatever it is, like cashmere scarves, because
Right,
now all of a sudden my access to people became so much greater, you know?
right.
I always looked at alternative and new technologies to see how communication was unfolding. So I think that's part of it. Like you should always want to enhance yourself. You should always
Without
want to
question.
be continuing your education.
Absolutely. No question about that. We came to the portion of the episode now that we're gonna do some this or that.
Okay.
So it's an interactive game, Josie, that I like to do with all of my guests here on the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. What I do is I throw some things at you and you get to choose this or that. So for the second time, I ask you, are you ready?
Okay. Go for it.
Okay, here we go. So do you like chicken?
Yeah. Off the
Okay.
bone.
Okay. Well, I hope it ain't, but Bug, I hope it ain't like, live. You eating chicken live chicken.
I'm just saying chicken off the bone. I don't like eating it off the bone.
I feel that. I feel that. So here we go. From these two places, which one are you choosing? Are you
Okay.
going to choose Popeyes or KFC?
Oh, Popeyes.
Girl, you on point like a period right now. I like that. Here we go. Okay, let's stay with it. Which chicken wing flavors would you rather put on a chicken? Barbecue or lemon pepper?
Ooh, why can't I do 50-50? That's not nice. I
B-
love I,
Because ain't
I
no
I love
option
my
C,
buffalo. I like hot and spicy. I love
right?
buffalo.
But ain't no
Why
option
was it
C.
buffalo? Why do I have to go with barbecue though?
Because sweetheart, this is not this, that, or they. This is just this or this.
Stop. Oh, okay. Then I'm gonna excuse me. Lemon pepper is all right. It's seasoning. Like now I got to know how my meat was done. Was it smoked? And then we had like was it dry rub lemon pepper? Like that's what you're talking about? Or are you talking about like and the barbecue, is it like homemade barbecue sauce? Like that's gonna no.
Josie. We
Fine
dive into.
barbecue. I'm just going with barbecue. Fine.
That's right. Listen, why you got to dive into the 10 feet pool when there's a 3 feet pool? Like, let's stay in the
I'm
shallow.
just saying, don't ask me. Do we eat at everyone's house? No, no, we do not. Why? These are the reasons why.
True, very true. And for the record, I love buffalo. I do love buffalo sauce.
Okay,
Yes, I love buffalo. That's probably third, but I do love it. I do love the sauce. So
okay,
yes. Here we go. Okay. These next five have to do with music concerts you rather attend. So here we go.
okay.
Which concert would you rather go to? Kendrick Lamar or Drake?
Oh, Kendrick.
Okay, okay, girl. Right now, we vibing right now. Now, I like that. Here we go. Which music concert would you rather go to? J. Cole or Lil Wayne?
Oh, damn. Man, no. Only because of the history, Little Wayne. I mean, I'm talking about like Birdman history. So,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah,
You talking about
I
like
gotta
the
go way
Carter
back.
two, the Carter three, the Carter. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I'm just saying, I'm all the way back all the way back. So then I'd have to say Little Wayne.
I feel you. Oh wow. You talking about when the block is hot. The
I'm
block
just
is hot
saying,
though.
Hot Boys were something. So let's
They
go.
was, they was. I feel you on that. Okay, here we go. Which music concert would you rather go to? Would you rather go see SZA or Megan Thee Stallion?
Oh, Scissor.
I feel you on that. Okay, I
Yeah,
like that.
I'm at that place in my life where I want to be like chill mode. So yeah,
Okay, this is the old school R&B one. Which music concert would you rather go to, Brandy or Monica?
that's rude.
Yeah.
That's rude.
I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry you feel that way.
I yes, and I just I have two daughters, a teen, both teens now, and I put them on Moesha recently.
Did you?
So yeah,
Okay,
no,
good.
they're doing all the old schools. They're going back to the Parkers. They're going back to like all the old schools, hanging with Mr. Cooper. Like they getting
Right,
all the
Fresh
old
Prince,
schools, right?
Family Matters, all that.
All that. So Monica.
Okay, I'm with you on that. Now, that's probably the first one we disagreed on because I'm Brandy on that one. But it's
I love
51
Brandy,
49.
but
It's 51% and it's 49%. It's really close between them two.
yeah,
No
but
question.
one went way commercial and the other did not.
You're right about that. You're
That's
right. Here's,
why.
here's the last one for R&B. Now this
Okay.
R&B group. Which R&B group would you rather go see in concert? Boys the Men or New Edition?
Okay, so another feeling salty. There ain't no way. Okay, and I've seen both. So there, um, new edition.
Okay. I would have chosen them too. Even though I have not seen them in concert. I did see Boys the Men in concert, but I have
Yeah,
not
I've
seen
seen
them.
Boys to Men. Well, New Edition was when they came out with like a reunion, and it was a whole lot of Bobby Brown. But
I
I would
feel you.
probably just because it's reminiscent for me of like my
Hmm.
childhood, like reminiscent. That's why. I mean, it's that sweetness. This is the when they were crooning with the little like their little like the puberty like voices cracking, and it's
Right.
just like really
You talking about
sweet.
the Count Me Out New Edition.
Yes, yes, yes,
You
yes,
talking
yes.
about when they were little boys growing up. I feel that.
Yeah.
No doubt.
That's where my head lives because if I go to Boys to Men, I feel like I'll just be crying the whole time. I just be crying. I
They
want to
do have a
enjoy
lot
it.
of
I
those
want to feel
songs.
good. Yeah.
No question, no question. Okay, you did pretty good on that. I should ask you this. Which sport would you rather watch on TV? Basketball or hockey?
Well, hockey. I just
You
don't like the
sure?
cold. I don't like the cold.
But hold on. So you don't like the cold, but you in Omaha. It get cold there.
That's the problem. Usually at this time, I'm always gone. I don't stay in Omaha too long. Like I usually, I'll fly south. I'll literally be, in West Palm, Boynton, Boca Raton. I don't
I feel
drive in the
that.
snow. I do not do
Yeah.
the snow. So
Yeah, I
yeah.
got I totally understand that because I got property over in Atlanta, Georgia. So I totally understand that. Okay, I'm with you on that. Which sport would you rather play? Would you rather play badminton or bowling?
Oh, badminton.
Okay, all right, I'm with you on that. I love me
Yeah,
some
that'd be fun
badminton.
with a little
That
birdie.
would be. That
It
would
would be.
be. I like that. I'm pretty good now. I'm just saying. So, I'm pretty good in badminton.
Okay.
Okay, throwing that out there. Do you like desserts?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna name four categories of desserts. You get to choose one of these that you'll never eat again. Okay, so here we go. First one is cakes/pies. The second one is cookies. The third one is candy. And the last one is ice cream. Which one are you getting rid of?
Ice cream.
Wow. Okay.
I
Okay.
ain't even gotta think about it.
No, you didn't. You answered
No.
that really damn
I tried
fast.
to have bubble gut because I'm lactose intolerant. I'm good.
Okay. Well then, yeah, that makes sense now. Now I'm about to
Fine.
say, okay. What's your favorite cookie?
Um, I would say usually peanut butter chocolate.
Got you. Got you. I'm allergic to nuts. Except peanut butter that's creamy. I can eat creamy peanut butter. I can't eat crunchy peanut butter. So yeah, I gotta stick with the chocolate chip or the what the oat. Well, Not the oatmeal raisin. That one too.
Oatmeal raisin's good. I got a good oatmeal raisin recipe. But yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. We might have to talk offline on that one because I'm definitely down to listen on that. Here we go. Do you like potato chips?
Uh, not really.
Not really. Okay,
Not
that's
really.
okay. I always have a bonus. This is my bonus question to you in my last this or that. Which concert would you rather have seen in person? Would you rather have seen Mary J. Blige or Mariah Carey?
Mariah.
Mm, okay. All right.
Mariah.
You answered that pretty quick. I like that though. Mariah Carey. All right. You did pretty good on this or that. Really good. Matter of fact, one of my best guests on this or that on the show for sure. My next question I asked to all communication people, and that is if it wasn't communication and media that you pursued as a career, what career would you have pursued and why?
An attorney.
I can see that.
Yeah, as an attorney, I feel like um I love being right. And I will always love finding the reasons why I'm right. And even when I'm
Oh,
wrong, I'm right, Chris. Even when I'm wrong, I'm right. So
hmm
it's just where the evidence lies. Okay?
that's what my mama tells me. That's what my
Yep.
mama has taught me. She's like, you know what? Even when we wrong, we right. I was like, I don't know who we is, but whoever we is, you right. Okay, we'll roll
Not
with
we. It's me.
that.
How you know, Chris?
Okay, I'm gonna keep that in mind, Josie. I'm definitely gonna keep that one in mind. What kind of attorney would you have been?
Um, I would not want criminal law. I don't, I have a lot of respect for those who do criminal law, but also I just couldn't do criminal law. Um,
Okay,
I think I would probably focus more so on like any social justice or social causes. So
that sounds
things
pretty
that,
good.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
No, that's amazing. That's amazing. I probably would do theater for me. I'm huge into musicals, huge into plays, so I love theater. Love going to watch people do stuff that's different from everyday life. Like I'm Chris every single day, so if I can like be an actor and act another role, another part, that'd be amazing. So I would love to do that. Um, this next question here, yeah, is a top four. What's a top four of maybe stories or clients that has been memorable in your career that you've done?
oh, so top four interviews?
Yeah, or just maybe clients that you've had in your or stories you've written or done, or
Yeah,
could
yeah,
be
yeah,
interviews.
yeah.
Yeah.
Nas, I interviewed Nas.
Okay.
Such a dynamic piece. He gave me a lot of time. I didn't anticipate it too. Um,
Okay.
and it was just so incredible learning about like really conscious rap and what was happening at the time. So this is
Sure.
early 2000s when I got a hold of him, and we would just talk. I love hip hop. I love
Oh
rap. I
wow.
love
So that was
music.
during the Jay Z Nas beef that was going
Yes,
on. You talking
it
about?
was.
Okay. Okay.
Absolutely. So Nas was amazing. Kevin Hart was really good. Kevin
Mm.
Hart was always, his name was out there, I think, for, certain social circles, but he would always come to the Funny Bone Comedy Club here in Omaha, as many people, like Mike Epps. I've met a lot of people, celebrities per se,
Mhm.
because they would take their shows here and run through it, so that way, before they go to, larger acts or larger cities, they kind of had a general sense of what people thought. Kevin Hart was amazing. This is again early 2000s. I've lived a good life,
Mm.
to be in my 20s and in the early 2000s and just like um, be out in the city. So he was telling me all about a lot of the projects that he was working on, and the what was it, the Husbands of Hollywood was hilarious. That he was just starting to film those, so that was really cool. Just hearing that. Uh,
Sure.
who else have I really enjoyed? Lady Gaga, I've interviewed.
He's
Um,
amazing. No
she's
question.
amazing, hands down. She's just an amazing person. So, um, but the pieces that I did about her were not interviewing her. It was about how people felt about her music. So
Mm,
um, I always loved getting the perspective of everyday people. So it was always like shining a light on why they're so touched by her music. So
hmm.
that one that I really loved like following that. Um, and then I it's so hard because I've done so many pieces
Right.
on just like local profile people.
Hmm.
But there was one in particular that stands out about a gentleman who used to walk up and down all over Omaha selling homemade brooms. We used to call him the Broom Man. And
Mm,
older African American man who that was just his life. And recently I was driving up, what is it, like 40th and Hamilton, and I saw somebody made a mural, and like I got teary-eyed just because, he had long since passed, but he'll always be remembered in that community for selling his homemade brooms. So it's things like that. Like, for me, you don't have to be rich and famous. And I'm not one who's gonna, like, I don't know, I've been around it so much, and especially
hmm.
with my clients. Um, I love all my clients, but my clients are uniquely different. But it's
Right.
not about money that moves me. Money doesn't move me. What moves me is, integrity. It's like your principles and your values, and it's who you are as a person.
Right.
So, yeah, Nas was dope because I really got to learn a lot about him.
Hmm.
So when I would do Q&As and interviews, back then in the early 2000s, I didn't really like, yeah, I want to hype your music, but I also want to know you, like,
About
what
you.
moved you? How'd you
Right.
get started? When was the first moment that you knew that you were musically inclined? What was that song that you had to dance to? Who around you? So asking the questions that you're asking of me is just being reminiscent. And when you're able to get people just to talk and
Yep.
you do the listening, I mean, that's the coolest thing in the world. That's how you know you're a great interviewer, but you really struck a chord and made a connection with that person.
Absolutely. No question. That's why I find people to be fascinating, just like you, being absolutely incredible, just like you found Nas to be absolutely incredible. Because people are just some of the most interesting, people to interview, to talk to. You learn something from everybody that you talk to in this world. I've always grew up knowing that you can talk to anybody in this world, and you can connect with somebody on anything. We're all different. Yes, we have differences, but we have a lot of similarities too. And that's just obvious. It's just a matter of, do you want to allocate that time to talk to that individual, which is another reason why I started this podcast. I started this podcast because it's a great way to network, but it's also a great way for people to understand what people go through in this journalism industry. There's an A side and a B side. And sometimes people don't join industries and professions for the right reasons, Josie, and they have their own kind of reasons for joining things. And they need to be educated on what everything is before you make that decisive decision. Because
Mhm.
once you make it, you in it. But there's a lot of people that be like, well, man, she reports, she writes, she journalism, she must got it. Now she got clients and she's doing this, she's doing that. I mean, you must got it made, Josie, but there's a lot of people that's helped you, and there's a lot of hard work that you've also put into to get to where you at. And people
I've
don't
been
know
burnt a
behind
whole lot. People don't know when you're burnt, right? We so
they
quick
don't.
to talk about the successes, but nobody tells you about, and that's why it goes back to mentorship and guidance and finding someone who's going to coach you through those things. Like,
No doubt.
imagine where I would have been had I not had somebody to teach me the art of negotiation, that I could negotiate salaries. Or imagine where I would have been if I wasn't, had the know-how capability of learning how to navigate the tough questions, and somebody want to just shut me down. I've been in a lot of spaces where I wasn't supposed to be, you
Right.
know? I was
Hmm.
belittled or I was thought less of. And no, like I said from early Jump Street, tell me what I can't do and I will show you. So it's
Right.
also that tenacity. You're
Yep.
right, 1,000%.
Absolutely. That's the behind the scenes kind of mentality people don't know about. But they won't know about that unless they talk to you, right?
Right.
Unless they sit down and actually have a talk to you and get to know you, like you said, asking those type of questions. Um, I want to ask this bonus question. That's a top four again. Imagine yourself possibly, going out, maybe doing more stories or more interviews or stuff like that. what is the top 4 list of people that you would like to talk to or stories that you would like to do? And I'll give you kind of a prime example of what my 4 would be. I I would love to do the Super Bowl. I would love to do an NBA Finals. I would love to do the Olympics because that's in my hometown state of California in 28. So I would love to do that. And I would also love to do a national championship game. If I can cover that, that would to me that would be amazing to be on the field, that atmosphere, and just be able to bump heads with some of the best reporters and sports industry people in the game at those events. How about yourself?
For me, I think it would be people. I love human interest pieces, right? So,
Yeah, absolutely.
um, hands down, Warren Buffett. Before
Mm,
he passes, it would be a dream of mine. He's in my hometown, right? He's the Oracle of Omaha. He lives here. I would love to
okay,
pick his brain and the wealth of knowledge that he has for how
okay,
he comes to be so decisive with his decisions because a lot of people, have a hard time, committing to the decision that they make. And then when they waver, so I like to learn about like why, like what made him such a decisive person. I want to pick his brain on what he goes through to keep it so sharp in the industry, right? So I would
absolutely.
say Warren Buffett. Brene Brown. No, Brene Brown is
Mm,
an academic. She's a professor, right? She's in academics, and she's also a podcaster. But she has done so much incredible research, and she's a writer just
wow.
on
Okay.
um, I would say the human experience is the best way I could describe her. She's a researcher and a storyteller who talks about, courage and vulnerability and shame and empathy and, really tough discussions that lead us to who we are, right? So I would
Absolutely.
love to pick her brain. Um, I would have loved to sit down with Prince and understand the music
Mm.
industry when he was so cutting edge. Like I'm talking about people who are iconic that have
You definitely
created,
are.
right?
Yeah.
Influence and culture, like, right? So I would love, I would have loved to talk to him about what life has been like, even through the music industry when he changed his name to the artist formerly known as Prince. What was that life epiphany that came to you that said, you know
It
what,
made you
I'm
want to
locked
change.
into a contract and understanding contracts. That's another
That's a whole different
legalese.
ball game right there.
It is. It is.
Mhm.
I have had to hang out with a lot of attorneys to understand, right? So even
Right.
for him as an artist and a creative, when you are making something that is your depth in your soul and you bring it to life and someone wants to take control and ownership of what that is, that creative, and intellectual freedoms, right, that they're challenging. I would have loved to pick his brain on it. And I think for fourth, um, man, I don't know. Is it weird to say I would want to sit down with God?
Hey, no, not at all.
Is it weird to say that? But I would definitely would want to sit down and I would want to understand existence from his perspective as told to me.
Sure,
Because
sure.
that to me is again, everyone that I'm mentioning and I'm talking about, for me it's understanding their whys and getting a glimpse of what the human experience really is about from their perspectives and
Mhm.
where they overcame challenges and they didn't look at failures, whether it was a stock market or it was a moment when you shared your depth of your soul to somebody, but it was looked at as an opportunity, not a challenge. It was looked
Right,
at as being, curious and not nosy. It was looked at as being assertive and spoken with confidence and not aggressive. And I want to know where they looked at that silver lining to say, okay, you can say whatever you want, but this is the reality of how it is. That's
right.
why.
No, that's pretty cool. I mean, if there was anybody I would want to speak to, it would be Job. No question about it. I would
Oh,
love to have an
right,
interview with Joe
right.
because you got to tell me how do you have unwavering faith like that, brother? Going through that kind of situation of what you went through, I would just love to pick it. I would love to have an interview with that. If there was anybody that would love to interview from the
Right.
Bible, for sure. Advice. We talked about advice you would give someone, but
Mhm.
Josie, what kind of advice has some people or someone has gave you that you hold on dearly to?
Um, Failure ain't nothing but a try.
Mm,
Um,
I like that.
because that is indeed, unless you try, right? What's the old saying? 100 shots not taken is what? You know? So you look at what is getting in your way? How are you self-censoring? How are you, still in your blessings because you're not willing to try. So I think
Sure,
that that is the biggest thing, to not make excuses. So failure is you just trying and you try again, right?
sure,
So that
sure.
has been probably one of the biggest. And the other came from my executive editor of the World Herald when I decided to make the decision to leave the newsroom, the news industry, and go into higher education. And that was, if you feel, and at first I was so young, I didn't, well, here I'm in my 30s, I didn't know what does he mean by this? This is,
Right,
I was off put by it. And, now
right.
that, I sat with it, for some time, but he said that so in life, if you ever feel that you made a decision and it wasn't the decision you thought it would be, or if you felt it was the wrong decision, you can just make another decision. Like
Mm,
you change that. You change your trajectory. You do not
absolutely.
have to feel stuck anywhere. And that to me was a pivotal moment for me to now how I look at how even in, uh, being a risk taker. I've always been, spontaneous and a bit more of a risk taker than others, but so many people clock in and clock out because they're afraid to be the owner of that industry, right?
Yep.
They don't want to assume the risk. They want the stable paycheck. They don't want to assume the risk. The risk is
Right.
scary. The risk is very scary, but the risk
Yep.
is very rewarding too. So I want people to, I look at the moments like that and I'm like, oh, that's what all it is. If you just pivot, if you make a decision, it's not the best decision, then just choose to do something else. I thought that was like such a great bit of advice that was given to me, that now that I'm a leader and now that I run my own company and now that I work with others, we're pivoting all the time. We're going to try things. Some things may not work, right? That's okay.
Right.
That's cool. We did it. Now we check it off the box of the list of things that we're not going to do again, you know? And you move forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that advice. I really do. It's very easy. It's easy said, I should say that, but what hangs up a lot of people is that risk, right? Because it's safe. It's safe to go to work every day and be like and complain about the job that you have. It's safe to go to work and complain and be like, oh, well, I'm not happy doing this and that. But it's hard to walk away from it because now you're in the unknown. You don't know what's going to be happening next. But as I've told other coworkers, because we have met every job, there's somebody that's going to be coming there and they're going to complain about this, complain about that. And my two things that I say to them is one, the only person that's going to be able to change your situation is you. That none of us here, as far as your coworkers, can help you change your situation. So
Mm-hmm.
complaining to us does nothing unless, and we're not Dr. Phil, so I can't put you on the couch because I don't get paid to put you on the couch to listen to your problems. I can't. I don't get paid to do that. So you got to change it yourself. And then number two, if you're not working towards that change, then you coming back to a situation thinking it's going to be different when you know it's going to be the same is the definition of insanity. So why do that? It doesn't make any sense. So, it's just one of those things that I'd like to tell my coworkers and tell anybody in general as well. But I love that. I know one of my greatest um, quotes that I've heard was actually from a professor, and he was like, "Ease is a greater threat to progress than hardship."
Right.
And I was like, at first when he said that, I was like, "Huh?" I was like, what in the hell is he talking about? And I'm like, you always want to try to do things easy, but then as you get older, you realize that sometimes you do appreciate it more when you get it out the mud. If you get out the mud, you appreciate it a lot more. There's no question about it. And I know there's been some things that I've definitely gotten out the mud as well. And hearing your story, it sounds like you have too. So there's no question about that. So,
Yeah, I wrote
um,
a motivational book. It's a quote book, and it's available on Amazon called Resilience in Words.
yep,
And it's a planner as well in tandem with it. And what it does is you read the quote and you have to motivate yourself to think in a process of like sometimes life is so complex and difficult for some people. They're in depression. It's hard for them to even get out the bed,
right,
right? So what
right,
led you to that decision to be in there? Or what makes you feel stuck? We want to get unstuck.
right.
So you say, I love the term get it out the mud, I love I love Kevin Gates, but I love the idea of I love music, but I love the idea
True.
too of anything worth having is always going to be worth fighting for. So if it's worth having that ideology that you want a big house or you want a big life or you want whatever, you got to work for it, man. You're going to appreciate it a lot more. And
Yep.
not everyone's willing to put in the work again, right? So, there's so many quotes that I have in this book, Resilience in Words, that I encourage you to check it out. And we have, a friend of mine and I co-created it. And he lives in Nigeria. We met during COVID, like all the way halfway across the world, and he's a designer and he's on my team. Like, you meet the most interesting people when you open yourself up to the opportunity of what change can be for yourself.
You ain't lying about that.
Hmm.
That is definitely true. No
Yeah.
question. Josie, this has been a really, really dope conversation. Just learning about your background, coming from Omaha. Obviously, growing up in through some rigorous situations, right, with your family, but overcoming that and being able to kind of make your own mark in the journalism field, starting in high school, working as early as you said, 9 years old, delivering papers, and then having a couple jobs in high school, and then being able to go and get your degree, and then obviously leading all the way up to now you owning your company and having multiple clients. Um, it really is a testament of your hard work, your dedication, and how you are as a person. And I respect that more than anything, and I admire that about you. I want to ask you, how many clients do you have? Like, if you can give me like a ballpark number, how many clients do you have?
On retainer, I have about 20. That means they pay
Okay,
monthly.
no,
Um,
that's
and
awesome.
yeah, and so then, but project based, there's a lot more. Those kind of fill in as
Yeah,
needed. So
okay.
I could always have more. How about that?
Absolutely, no question.
But
And I'm definitely going to promote your name out there to
thank
people and
you.
let them try to see to get in contact with you, I should say. Like I said, I want you to enjoy the rest of your Wednesday and the rest of your week. But as I always do, Josie, to end my podcast, is there anything else you would like to add about yourself, the job, or anything at all before we conclude?
No, I just want to bless that because all thanks be to God for everything He's given me. And I want to bless up when it comes to other people that come into my world and make sure that I'm always looking out for them and giving them opportunities.
Mm,
I'm so thankful for the Lozafina team because, they're the ones who carry the weight to make that a well-oiled machine. So that way now I can chase government contracts, which is what I'm doing. I'm
absolutely.
very selective of the clients that we have. I have a roster list, no different from any other team, and you either make the cut this year or you don't, and you have to go waitlisted. And the reason why is because I love my time and I don't want to do beyond anything that'll steal my peace. So I think that if whatever your passion is,
Mm,
chase it, and dream big. We always say dream big, but I really do believe a lot of people want to dream big, but now it's time to do big things. So
I
look
love
at
that.
2025 doing big things. Okay.
Absolutely. No question about that. You and I would definitely be in touch. Again, enjoy the rest of your week. Thank
Yeah.
you for coming on to my podcast.
Thank you for
Have a
having
great
me.
day.
Bye.